Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the SiGMA podcast. Today, we're meeting a former colleague of mine, office as well. We used to share the same office. Franco De Gabriele, the Chief Commercial Officer of Easy Group and the National Lottery.
Correct.
Franco, thank you for accepting our invite. We don't usually look at the land-based sector over here, but given the National Lottery, its size, you're now, I'd say 8 months in the new operation, 6 months.
In the new operation?
No. How long?
2 years and 2 months.
2 years, 2 months.
We've started the third year of the concession, yes.
And your concession is how long?
10 years.
10 years. 10 years. Okay. So 2 years and a quarter.
A lot of change.
It's 1/4 of the concession has gone through. How is it going right now?
The best word to use is like it's been a watershed.
In what sense?
In the sense that things are always coming in, you're always planning ahead. You always need to try to be one step ahead of the market potential that there is, okay? But one has to see it within the context of what we found in terms of the operation,
distribution network,
and the changes. I would say the entire landscape.
Operation.
The entire landscape.
Did you need to take on also all the employees? The agents?
That was part. That is part of the concession agreement, the transfer of business, which means that you have to take over the employees of the past concessionaire. It's very obvious that when you go in. And we were new. Remember, we were new
I know we worked that concession document.
From the perspective of a lottery operator. We were new.
For the benefit of our viewers, the person who really put together this voluminous content was the gentleman in front of me. But you were the one really proofreading and making sure everything was spot on. But Franco. Even that in itself was a huge challenge, right?
Yes, that was a challenge. We had support. We had support especially from our technology partner. We partnered with the largest lottery technology provider, which is IGT. We were very happy with their input. We were very happy. At the end of the day, we are happy with the deliverables because we had to overhaul the entire system. We went from a system that had been running since 2004. And the biggest challenge, the first big challenge was that within nearly 7 months, I would say a bit less, you had to transition from the system A to system B without having 1 day of margin. So on the 4th of July, Maltco switched off. 5th of July, the first draw on the new system has to
on the new IGT system.
On the new. Which meant a lot of preparation, a lot of work, and then the interesting part starts. Then you need to grow the market. Yes, then you need to.
Okay, I'd like to point out a second, but there was also in certain instances I saw some changes in technology. So, easy bet shops, for example.
Correct.
I live in Gozo. I've been to a few of them. There were some changes from what I remember from a few years ago to. Now, new content, new machines, fingerprint. So
a lot of
fingerprint scanning.
Yes, a lot of change has happened. A lot of change has happened at the infrastructure level, even at the thought process level. So what we said was we remember we had our own shops, and these had to now coexist.
You had to marry them into the system.
These now had to exist with an ecosystem of an already existing network, and we said we want to bring the technology we used in the previous EasyBet shops into the National Lottery shops. That meant for the first time sports betting across 240 network of shops with self-service machines, new content, and generally speaking, at the very high level. We wanted to give back a lot more to the player than the player was used to. Okay?
In what sense?
In what sense? I give you an example. You take the most basic of games for lottery, which is the Lotto in Malta. Saturday, Lotto, we added another draw, so you have Saturday and Tuesday. The winnings back to the player. So we said we need to give back more to the player. So the actual game, game in itself.
So through a higher return to player or through
higher return to player.
Okay.
Higher
But so
return
then
to
how
player, yes.
do you make up for that loss of margin? How do you make up?
It's-
By having more.
It's not lottery is volume based. It's volume driven.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you give more to the player, you create more
You get
appetite. You bring in probably not so much for lotto in a big way, but probably you're gonna get more people coming in to try the game because you're doing things which are very
Player-centric.
Player-centric. I'll give you an example. The previous operator used to cap the winnings.
Mm-hmm.
If a certain combination of numbers came up, and this would have been a combination which was played by thousands and thousands of people, not 100% of the winnings would have been paid back to the player, but it was capped at 70%. We gave back 100% of the winnings. So whatever the combination is, whatever the winnings are, they go back to the player. And you can think of this player-centric, let's call it philosophy, that we've transposed this everywhere. You think about, just to give you an idea, you think about sports betting return to the player in terms of how much the games. We've reduced what used to be a hold on sports from a relatively large number for land-based to a margin today that has to compete also with online.
So
Because you
say
have
you've
to-
got yourself very close to online then.
Because you have to also think that
You're competing with online.
you are not only competing with online, you need online to be looked at as just another access point.
Okay.
And this is for us, this is key.
But you are also competing online with other operators.
Absolutely. And we have to take that on. We've always done that. EasyBet now has been in the market since 2015. Started off with 10 shops, went up to 15 shops, went up
How
to
many
20
shops are you
shops.
now?
You now have EasyBet under the National Lottery. So you have EasyBet as the sports betting brand of the National Lottery, and you have close
EasyBet
to
shops.
240 shops. Some of them have remained as EasyBet shops, but over time they will all be converted as National Lottery. They will all be rebranded as National Lottery. It's not an easy task. It's not an easy task. So you can't do everything within
The irony
the
is
ti-
not
the-
lost
the-
between the name and this
you
not
know,
being an easy task.
the time frames that you have. So you have to. It has been a journey where you have to prioritize because you would like to do
Okay.
a lot of things.
But when
at
you
the
say
same-
prioritize, in what sense?
prioritize, for instance, do you
Do you open more shops or do you fix that shop?
Correct.
The budget bar.
correct? That's one of them.
I saw.
That's
I
the-
haven't been inside,
Yes.
but I've seen the film, the
Yes.
footage, and I actually spoke with one of the employees who worked on the project. It looks beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It looks
It
I
is.
haven't been inside,
No,
so
it
I
is.
can't tell you. But
Again, this was a project. Just to give you an idea, this was a project that we started talking about and putting on the table for consideration in October of last year. So you fast forward a few months, and you are the first operator in the world outside of the United States with a product that resembles a slot machine, is not a slot machine, resembles a slot machine, historical horse racing, for those people that know what historical horse racing is, and you have the first installation outside of the United States in Malta. So that we use this not only to generate the revenues that it should generate, because there's always the return on investment element in the project, but to also showcase this product for the rest of the world. Literally for the rest of the world.
okay. Any compliance, regulatory challenges to launch content like that, or do you
yes.
find the regulator to actually,
Yes, well, the
without wanting to sound but cheesy,
No,
but
no,
being
we've-
pro-business on this?
Absolutely. And we found that the concession agreement, without going into the details of what the concession agreement says, very, it's not even specific, defines the lottery game in a certain way, which enables you to come up with historical horse racing, which is a lottery game, literally,
When
but
you
which
say-
is housed in a
server.
terminal that looks like a normal game
A normal
machine.
slot.
Correct.
When you say historical horse racing, do you mean video feed from?
Not just the video feed. What you have here are hundreds of thousands of horse racing results coming predominantly from our provider, which is Churchill Downs from Kentucky, the home of the Kentucky Derby. And what these people have done, together with Exacta Systems, which is then the technology provider, Churchill Downs bought Exacta very recently. They have created the algorithms that are literally based on the races that have been
happened in the past.
Run in the past. And when you look at it, you have hundreds of thousands of combinations depending on the outcome of that particular race. So it's a very very interesting concept. They have then partnered with game providers so that the theme looks familiar to people that want to play these type of games. Yeah. In this instance, we have partnered once again with IGT, the gaming side of IGT now, not the lottery side of IGT. So essentially, when a player comes, they don't feel it's any different to the environments that
the look and feel.
The look and feel. But the mechanics of it, the algorithms of it are very different.
Generic question: how well versed, but it's product based. How well versed do you think people who work in this industry should be with the product? The way you've just described historical horse racing to me shows you've spent time looking, studying this product. How important?
Yes, this product from a conceptual perspective is very similar to the electronic bingo. That the intelligence is all in a central server, it's not in the machine itself, so it operates.
So you have one central server on which the other machines feed.
So it operates like a lottery. I think it's essential that whoever is going to take this to the next level, like we did, and I can tell you that we have dealt with very large corporations in doing this, and the speed at which we went from concept to agreement to launching was pretty intense. You know, we like I said, first approach in October, launched a fully fledged system, I call it operation, by the 4th of July, which does not only include historical horse racing, but has probably the best showcase of land-based sports betting that you will find in, not just in Malta. I mean, I invite people who have an interest in seeing how it operates, biometric systems.
This is the budget bar.
The whole, yes, this is the Visa Bingo Center.
And is there a center also at the quad? If you don't mind me asking.
There's a shop at the quad.
Shop at the quad.
There's our showcase at the shop.
Okay.
So at the shop, a year before at the quad, we launched our first. It was actually our second, because the first small concept store was the one that you have in the High Street in Hamroon. But this is a very, very small shop. But with the Hamroon shop, we said this is the way we are going to
tackle the future shops that we're going to open.
This is the concept. What you have in the quad is a much larger environment.
How many of these shops have you opened till now? Hamroon?
We've opened close to 20 of these stores, because we're either opening new ones or we are refurbishing
the old ones,
existing ones. Okay. Remember that there is at the level of the land-based, let's call them environment, the lottery concession allows you to sell your core lottery products, which for us are Lotto and Super 5, in not more than 240 shops. So your decision of how many you refurbish, where you place them, what products you sell in them, and how you get them organized is very important.
It's important.
Because you have a finite number. It's not like unlimited. Let's get it out there. It doesn't work. Close that one. No. Obviously, these considerations are made all the time, depending on what the shop can generate. But you have these, let's call them constraints to an extent, which are
limitations.
There are constraints. There is an element to it which you can expand on, which relates to the actual scratch cards. Okay.
Yeah,
there's
the loophole on the 240.
It's not a loophole.
You don't need the 240 limitation.
You're not selling out of the other shops the core products. You're selling just the scratch cards, and in that instance,
you can sell.
Believe it or not, Malta, which normally because of our size and our let's call it high density, we normally have a very high number per population. The amount of shops selling, for instance, scratch cards in Malta compared to Europe is very, very low.
Okay.
Very, very low. Actually, we need to have more than double the amount of shops to be in line with the lower part of the averages of Europe. So this is our next challenge now. One of our challenges now is to increase the distribution where you can buy even more scratch cards. Correct.
Franco, time is not okay. Time
that goes very quickly.
Has gone by. It's been a pleasure hosting you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I hope you'll accept a future invitation in the near future, so we continue this discussion, especially on your expansion plans. It's been a pleasure. I'd also like to thank our viewers, SiGMA Podcast, and remind you to press the subscribe button, post notifications so as to keep up to date with all the content that we are pushing out here at SiGMA. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure.